Merry Christmas, guys. Sonic Smash Bro here, and to all you Pokemon TCG players out there, hope your polls were all fantastic today. Like they were for me. Yes! Oh, you do not know how much that's worth, believe me. But as my gift to all of you guys out there, it's time for another deck profile, once again with Mew EX. Last time I did the Plume Box variation, now it's time for my preferred variation, Ninjabox. Very similar card lineup to before. Still the same old 2 copies of Mew EX for versatile, using the attacks of any Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's, if you have the necessary energy. Also, XY promo artwork is amazing, and also the only Generations promo that is a textured full art, alongside the Mewtwo that's in the same box. I don't know why. Same copy targets as before with some differences. 2 copies of Jolteon EX, Flash Rate, Lightning 2 colorless, 70 damage, and blocks damage from basic Pokemon. Pretty straightforward. Also 2 copies of Glaceon EX for Crystal Ray, Water 2 colorless, 70, and blocks damage from evolution Pokemon. Vespiquen, Megas, what have you. It also blocks Carbon Break, so really good. Also a single copy of Red Ice for Resistance Blizzard, Water 2 colorless, 70 damage. There's a theme going on here. Blocks all effects, including damage from attacks from Pokemon EX. Sceptile's Sleep Poison can't put you to sleep and poison you, nor do the damage, for instance. Kyogre's Water Pulse can't do the damage nor put you to sleep, what have you. Also a single copy of Espeon EX. This is very situational, but Side Shock can come in useful if you're up against something like Carbon Break, or say Red Ice in the Mirror Match, or Jolteon in the Mirror Match. Now it's time for one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's so good, no one ever sees it coming. Magearna EX. Now, Mystic Heart is not uncommon. Anything with a Metal Energy, or in this case a Rainbow Energy, can't be hit with any effects of attacks, and existing effects are not removed. But what I use it for once in a while, which no one ever sees coming, is Soul Blaster. Metal 2 colorless, 120, which is where our big damage is. And during your next turn, if you use it again, its base damage is 60. But let's just say this. Professor K took this to Florida Regionals. Surprised 2 people with Magearna. One who was playing Mega Mewtwo, who forfeited after that. And one against Mega Gardevoir inside of Mega Rayquaza and left her speechless. It was amazing. Now, this next card is a bit expendable, but it is a card I'd like to keep in the deck for a little bit, depending on the situation. That card is Kingdra EX. The reason being, there's actually one attack we can use here. Big Storm. It's weak, yes, but you discard the stadium and play, no questions asked. It is definitely weaker than, say, Lugia EX's Deep Hurricane, but it's cost effective. There's a big reason for this, we'll go into that later. Same supporting Pokemon as before, 1 copy of Manaphy EX for the Aqua Tube ability. Pretty straightforward, anything with a 1 energy gets free retreat. 1 copy of Hoopa EX for Scoundrel Ring. Bench it, get 3 more EXs aside from another Hoopa, but we only play 1 anyway, so that doesn't matter. And of course, 1 copy of Shaymin EX for the setup ability. Way too good to pass up on. Bench it, draw the EV6. It's essentially Bianca the ability, as I've said before. And onto the supporter line, which is also pretty similar. Same thing as before here, we've got 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7, no explanation needed. And also no explanation needed here, for those who've been playing the game long enough, is 3 copies of N. Both players shuffle and draw 1 for each of their remaining prizes. Pretty straightforward draw support there. 2 copies of Lysander, another staple. Get an opponent's bench Pokemon onto their active, or to get something out of their active we don't want there. Now the biggest reason this is called Ninjabox is because we play 2 copies of Ninja Boy. Swap out a basic on your field for another basic in the deck. Any cards and damage that's attached to the old card is on the new Pokemon. Shuffle the first Pokemon back into your deck. We primarily use this to get Hoopa and Shaymin out of the way. 1 copy of Giovanni's Scheme. We can do one of 2 things with this, as I've said before, draw the F5 or boost damage by 20, the new muscle band of the current format. We still play 1 copy of Hex Maniac to shut off abilities, but for the most part we're not dedicated to Plume Box, so this is fairly situational, but it's still decent all around. and 1 copy of Pokemon Ranger, primarily to remove the effect of Giratina's Chaos Wheel. And I think Greninja's Shadow Snatching gets shut down by this as well. But this is primarily for Giratina, or something like that. Red Ice in the mirror match, Jolteon in the mirror match, what have you. And that's it for supporters, so it's on to the item cards. Pretty much no surprise what's up first. That is 4 copies of VS Seeker. Getting a supporter from your discard back into your hand. Way too important in the current format. I can't stress this enough. 4 VS Seekers is essential in every single deck. At least if you're playing competitive. Also, we have ourselves here 3 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards, get out any Pokemon. Most decks nowadays will run 4 Ultra Ball, but in this deck, once you get out Hoopa, you really don't need Ultra Ball that much anymore. Just saying. Another big staple here is another pricey one as well. At least nowadays it is. And that's 4 copies of Trainer's Mail. Look at the top 4 cards, reveal a trainer card you find there with the exception of Trainer's Mail if you want to, and put it into your hand. Shuffle the other 3 cards back into your deck. If you do have another trainer though, you can whiff still if you're so inclined. Now because this deck always requires 2 energy attachments, it can really hurt to go second. So, 3 copies of Crushing Hammer. Flip a coin. If heads, discard an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So you can use this to get rid of DCEs on a Mega Mewtwo that's powering up or something like that. Double Dragon on Giratina. What have you. Any energy so long as you get heads. Also, 3 copies of Fighting Fury Belt. The basic Pokemon this card is attached to gets plus 40 HP, and its attacks do 10 more damage before applying weakness and resistance. Mew, Jolteon, and maybe Magearna will take one of these. But most of the time, it's Mew and Jolteon, no questions. Also, 2 copies of Floatstone are alternative to getting out of the active, because we don't have enough energies to give everybody for retreat without spreading the energy a little too much. So I feel Glaceon and Regice should get these Floatstones, provided you actually have them out on the field right at the time. Same recovery cards as before, 1 copy of Super Rod to shuffle 3 Pokemon and basic energies back into the deck, and 1 copy of Special Charge to shuffle 2 special energies back into the deck. Pretty straightforward stuff, as far as recovery cards go. Now, for our stadium choice, this should be pretty obvious. We play 3 copies of Parallel City. Yes, 2 of these are stamped reverse holo. Now, you can play this in one of 2 ways. If the blue side faces you, you can only have 3 on your bench. If the red side faces you, the damage of your Fire, Water, and Grass Pokemon is weakened by 20 before applying weakness and resistance. But, since we're attacking with Mew pretty much all the time anyway, that side doesn't matter. We want to be paralleling our opponent. This is also the reason we play Kingdra. Because, correct me if I'm wrong on this, if, say, your opponent plays a Parallel City where the blue side faces you, you can't play a Parallel City where the blue side faces them without discarding that parallel somehow. That's why I play Kingdra. And on to the energy count. It's exactly the same as before. 1 water and 1 lightning energy for a little bit of extra consistency. Also 4 copies of Rainbow Energy. As I've said before, these can function as any of the 10 types of energy, but they can only function as 1 energy when attacking at one time. So, pretty obvious who this is going on most of the time. Also, you want to put this on Magearna, at least one of them, to keep Mystic Heart in play against Greninja. And 4 double colorless. You may notice that one of these is not the Evolutions artwork. That's because I pulled a reverse holo from the Generations packs a while back. And by a while back, I mean earlier today. But yeah, that is the complete Ninjabox build. And next time, well, I'll give you a little bit of a preview. A pretty obvious preview once you look at the first card. Yep, next time, Mega Mewtwo. So until then, later guys!